welcome viewers to the daily space weather. We see some features forming which look like they could become a sunspot at any moment. We'll get into it deeply. First, here's a 94 angstroms view. By the way, this scope takes 10 photos per minute instead of only 2, 5 times as many as most of the other scopes, save for 131 angstroms. So this is a good one to study things like sunspots, solar flares, etc. Here's the view in 193 angstroms. Some coronal holes, especially the South Pole. South Pole looking pretty holy. Next we're going to go to HelioViewer. But first, I'm going to tell everybody to make sure you watch us on Twitch, as we're streaming this one live. And there's a reason for that. Anyway, here we are at HelioViewer. So if you're viewing this someplace besides live on Twitch, you're getting it a little bit later than those who viewed it on Twitch. What more can I say? So here we have 171 angstroms as well as magnetogram, and you can see this region down here looking pretty spotty, like it could become one in the day today, and we've taken some close-ups of that. There are the fields, and there is some of the ionized iron. So here's the southern polar region in 304 angstroms. And next we'll take a look at the northern polar region, as there are some filaments up there also. You don't want to miss anything, because nature has a tendency to do stuff when you're not looking, folks. Please leave a comment if you think the sun's doing it on purpose. Please leave a comment if you think the sun is conscious. Alright. Now, we've taken a close-up of the 171 with the base difference image, and you can see what the formation is looking like there. And it's a pretty small plage right now, and it's not yet a sunspot, but it could become one, so keep an eye on it. And when I say ion, well, the pun is intentional. Alright, so here's the 171 angstroms view by itself. And that's a pretty late image there. The last frame around 8:30 UT. Here's where objects are in the solar system right now, if you're wondering. And we will be doing a cosmology segment after this, probably also live streamed, or maybe produced. You'll have to stay tuned to find out. There's where things will be in a week, on March 14th. Here's where stuff is above my head. I always like to know where things like Cygnus X3 or Vega are located. Anyway, we've got Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn rising above the horizon, making me want to drive down to the Jersey Shore for a pre-sunrise photography session. KP index is at 2, and allow me to vanish before the screen gets white and I look weird. 10.7 centimeter radio flux, still at 70. Expect that to go up as we see some activity, as well as the possibility of some X-ray flaring if that turns into a real sunspot especially, and you see a little bit of activity as that thing comes into view. We're not going to cover cosmic rays, although we always link to the Network of Cosmic Rays station site so you can monitor them yourself. And we covered them yesterday. If you want to see the current state of affairs, just watch yesterday's A Daily Space Weather video. And we've seen some shifting here of the phi angle, the BT/BZ, as well as an uptick in the solar wind speed. That could be a bit of coronal mass ejecta. Current BT/BZ is 4.8, and the BZ is in the positives also at 1.6. Phi angle is at 140 degrees. That's 140 degrees, and the solar wind density 5.1 protons per cubic centimeter. Solar wind speed 374 kilometers a second. There's the data from ACE, and there's the data that came in or didn't come in while I did show prep. Next we'll look at the magnetosphere movie. 4 hours of data here. Nothing too exciting happening there. And surprisingly, this is showing most of the magnetohydrodynamic density there on the magnetotail zone for most of the movie. Kind of odd as the solar wind speed has ramped up. Anyway, here's the ground geospace magnetic perturbations. There must be some magnetic scenarios going on to cause the magnetosphere to be doing that. Or maybe the model's wrong, who knows. If you're interested in where the models come from, it's the Space Weather Modeling Framework. And if you visit the links below the video, you can head down to the Details tab and just click on Space Weather Modeling Framework, and you can read about it. It's a lot of data being processed to come up with these models. And they are better than some of the other models, which is why we use these instead of those, because these are better at error correction. And we'll let that play through a third time here in hopes that it'll actually play all the way through and not refresh. And welcome to the Neo-Renaissance and indeed the geomagnetic excursion. As we see some pretty anomalous behavior there in the magnetosphere, Pacific Ocean pulses, Canadian pulses, and Antarctican pulses. GOES magnetometers are remaining spiky in nature, as we've been forecasting day after day, and it's super obvious due to the Gong 2 data shown here, and you can see the current sheet completely charged up by the South Pole yet, shown here in red. Pretty new data here at 1 hour and 35 minutes old. This is derived from about 50 magnetometers on Earth, 51 actually. One on stereo B and one on stereo A. In case you didn't know where those things are, or you're a new viewer, etc. Cheers. Thanks for tuning in, if you're a new subscriber, by the way. And thanks to all our new subscribers, whichever platform you're viewing on. Next, we're going to look at the line of sight field plot, and you're going to see no real changes in the B field yet, but expect to see some anomalies associated, well, not really anomalies, but some changes in the B field here associated with that, and we may see the North Pole current, we may see the North Pole polarity shine through in the current sheet. So the likelihood is, if that active region forms into a sunspot, we may see, let me get to last frame here, we may see the North Pole current come through associated with where that plage, that active region that may become a sunspot, is located. So that could cause a polarity boundary crossing, although it hasn't happened yet. Next we'll look at electrons, and you can see quite a dip in the relativistic electrons. That's the greater than 2 mega electron volt only. And here we have the 0.8 and 2 in two different plots. The GOES 14 has not been sending data for the last few days. And I don't know why there'd be any damage on it, as we haven't seen any severe electron storms. So there's the last 3 days from the GOES 15 only. And it's a pretty low levels of electron flux. Here's the total electron content forecast. Nothing to write home about there. Next, the ionosphere movie. That's 6 hours of ionosphere. And we show this each day for people like earthquake forecasters. And we see a discharge there. And you can see that red blob, when that appears, that becomes an F layer. The yellow is an F2 layer. As at nighttime, parts of the ionosphere discharge and turn into only an F layer as opposed to a multiple layer ionosphere. Anyway, here's the latest image. That one at 10 o'clock UT, looking quite normal there. And this anomaly here, charging up in the South Pacific, is anomalous enough to be normal now, as it's been going on for quite a few months. I don't know if you're aware or not, YouTube has been demonetizing our videos, claiming that our videos forecasting coronal mass ejections and citing the fact that they've happened are not suitable for advertisements after manual review. And if you're wondering what the reason is, well, so are we, because we can't find out what that is. So well done, Google. Well done, way to censor the internet. And we won't mention anything else about he, she, and it that need not be mentioned, because we're trying to do space weather videos and not have all kinds of giant behemoths that can't get out of their own way get in ours. So thanks to our patrons, the real source of funding for these videos, you assistant and associate producers. We appreciate your patronage very much. And that's why we let you find out things first. And we even provide you with free music, remind me later today, to do so. We are also on Subscribestar. And most importantly, we're also on BitChute. And we're getting many more views there than on YouTube. So perhaps check it out as we're putting up exclusives on the daily. And also follow us on other alt tech such as Minds.com, the alternative to Facebook, where you won't get censored or shadow banned or have any of that nonsense happen to you at all. And your speech will be treated as free, kind of. Anyway, here's the windy.com pressure maps. We're going to let that advance about a day through. And then we're going to move on. Here's where things will be at 1 p.m. my time. And I'm located in eastern Pennsylvania, Lehigh Valley, PA, folks. And there's where things are anticipated to be by the GPS forecast tomorrow at 1 p.m. And we saw some earthquakes here. I believe California felt one of these. Let's go down the list. Still nothing over a 6 magnitude, folks, but here's a 5.9 at the southwest Indian Ridge, southeast of Madagascar. And let's just scroll up the list here. There's a deep one at Indonesia. There's another deep one in Argentina. So Western South America continuing to see deep quakes. It's a 4.1 magnitude at 249 kilometers. Another deep quake at Afghanistan at a 4.6 magnitude. And here's this one. This one came in at 3:52 UT, so about 6 hours from when we made the video. It's currently 5:13 Eastern Standard Time. And there's where that quake happened. And I did see some news broadcasts. We'll cover a little bit of footage momentarily. So yeah, that 5.5 happened at the surface. So a little uptick in earthquakes there, but still nothing over a 6 magnitude. We're still seeing a 6 and 7 magnitude earthquake drought for sure. Deep quake at Russia. Actually closer to Japan, really. And there's another 5.5. So yeah, nothing over a 6 magnitude, folks. Have you been to smashonmash.org? Well, we invite you. Don't forget to scroll down here and click on that. Also, don't forget to click on our social media links if you haven't already done so. Also, we've got a massive repository about COVID-19. It's over 8 pages long now. And I guess I'll read my last post. The entire outbreak may be much ado about nothing. The fatality rate is likely much lower than is being reported for one simple reason. This is not conjecture, nor a political ploy to downplay a significant threat. There are possibly billions of unreported cases. There are possibly billions of unreported cases. Like West Nile virus, which is also not a threat to anybody healthy whatsoever, coronavirus is not particularly dangerous, as I've stated myself in this forum since January 23rd. The reaction of certain people is completely disproportional to the actual threat, and this is either intentional or accidental. If it's intentional, it's likely an attempt to increase surveillance state scope, cause general chaos, which is also always a formula for increased scrutiny and control over your life, or to crash the U.S. stock market. That looks like it'll largely fail, as central banks continue to pump money into the bubble economy. The good news is that the U.S. is looking better than everywhere else. The inflation of U.S. dollars is bad for most Americans. Still, obvious bond purchasing makes the greenback look superior to most other world currencies. The anomalies recently in the precious metals markets are highly suspect of an intentional media fraud / scam, and I'm looking at lots of variables here, so feel free to comment and share your thoughts. So, apparently some bike races are being shut down, and my comment back to Terry, shout out to Terry, is those dudes have immune systems that laugh at coronavirus. They crush like little bug. I'm getting more and more convinced that the entire thing is a politically motivated media scam designed to crash the U.S. stock market, which will backfire entirely, and already is. We'll talk about it more on the BitChute exclusive later today. So follow us on Instagram. You may see wonderful videos like this of Jaws and Phelps, the fish with attitudes. And thanks everybody for having such a positive attitude about yesterday's YouTube stream. We meant to tell you to go view the Twitch stream, but I guess we must have overlooked that. Anyway, here's the current state of affairs when it comes to COVID-19. And by the way, if you're wondering about my new desktop, yeah, there's my new desktop, folks, and let's just say I'm good with data. Let's just I like data. I like data. Okay, that's anyway. Here's some data. COVID-19 cases now over 100,000 at 102,469. Total deaths 3,491. So we're looking to see this yellow graph. We want to see that one continue to level out like that, as I don't think this is any more dangerous than the seasonal flu, and in fact it might be less dangerous. One of the ways to help your neighbors cope with disasters is to use Nextdoor.com. I'm not paid to say this, but I am the Nextdoor lead for my own neighborhood, because I saw a need for this. I checked to see if there was a neighborhood, and there wasn't, so I created it, and we have about half of our neighbors around here are in the Nextdoor network. So Nancy Pelosi here, pushing her bike, she likes it. She doesn't appear to have a flat. I don't know why. Maybe that's her shopping cart. Let's get back to data. No, not like data. Like not that data either. Yeah, that data. Kluchevskoy is erupting. Did you know? It's a volcano on the Kamchatka Peninsula. It's been producing a 20,000-foot plume of ash. Please don't pole vault the caldera at Kluchevskoy. Mount also erupting. Flight level 6,000 there. Semeru exploding. Flight level 15,000 there. Please don't pitch a tent in the lower slopes of Semeru. Mauna Loa has been expanding on and on and on, and lots of earthquakes are happening underneath the main caldera and subcalderas of Mauna Loa, the largest active volcano in the world. Some good news is that gas concentrations and fumarole temperatures are both stable, but expansion is expansion, and it's still expanding. It's not stopping. Popocatépetl exploding. That's near Mexico City, if you weren't aware. It's producing a 20,000-foot ash plume. Don't fly your ultralight homemade helicopter over that. Fuego exploding. 16,000-foot ash plume there. Please do not attempt to do a triple Lindy over Fuego. Sangay exploding. 19,000-foot plume there. Please do not attempt to pole vault Sangay. And Sabancaya also exploding. An uptick at Sabancaya, now producing a 30,000-foot flight level. Don't fly a retired space shuttle or SR-71 Blackbird over Sabancaya, unless you have the cameras turned on. I like to use lightningmaps.org to see where the strikes are happening. And it looks like a bunch just came in. Check it out. Right off the coast of Virginia Beach. And shout out to the Weiss. Please leave a comment if you heard those thunderclaps. Probably not, because they're like 60 miles off the coast. And here's the current state of affairs when it comes to the U.S. Doppler radar. And I hit the wrong key. I apologize. And it looks like the bomb cyclone is out to sea. If you're on a boat with Marky Mark and George Clooney, please make sure you have your life vest on. Tether to the boat and don't get perfect storm. Next, we're looking at the jet stream from the North Geographic Pole. And this nullschool.net update brought to you by Coca-Cola. Just kidding, folks. Coca-Cola is not paying for this and has nothing to do with it. Please leave a comment if you think Coca-Cola is trying to take over the world by spreading fake news about coronavirus. Anyway, here are the Western jets, and we see some quite anomalous jet stream behavior, to say the least. Big bends, doubled up jet streams. Check it out over southern South America. They're getting injected with some icy, icy air, going straight from Antarctica into summertime. Pretty odd. Here are the eastern jets. Please leave a comment if you're really concerned about Zionism. I'm really scared about the Zionist agenda. Here's a water vapor map over Europe and Africa. And I would say, never attribute a conspiracy to something that can be more easily explained by basic stupidity and ignorance. Here's Oceania, as well as the Far East water vapor map. Here's the U.S. water vapor map. And we like to use water vapor when we don't know what will happen, because Doppler radar often looks very deceptively, right? Well, this is why we try to teach people actual atmospheric physics instead of fictional atmospheric physics. Let's take a zoom in of this area near the Louisiana-Arkansas border. It's my favorite convergence zone. It's convergence zone. Dun dun. I need like the Law and Order sound effect. Dun dun. Dun dun. Anyway, expect some flight turbulence if you're flying over the southeast, the southern, south central U.S. And do we have to look at any more spots? How about this bomb cyclone? For all you weather pornographers, this one's for you. Meteorology nerds. David Schlottower, leave a comment. David Schlottower, come on the channel. Hit me up on Skype. We'll do a special weather segment just to pump your channel. And thanks Smash Team for tuning in to the Smash stream. Whichever capacity you tuned in, whether it's live or whether it's Memorex, we thank you. Here's the latest intensity gram of the local yellow dwarf to show you 0 sunspots. You'd be able to see that if that was a sunspot, but it's just a plage. It's very, very weak. I don't know. It could be an umbra. Zoom in more. This is the full res image, I think. I think it's already a sunspot, folks. So look for this to get named today. And pretty much, I'm pretty sure these have to be in effect for more than 12 hours. So there are the fields. And I only see one umbra when I look at it from this view, which means there's only one field it's associated with. This the field is right here. And expect that to be named. I don't remember what number we're on for sunspots. Let's do one more bonus feature, the 131 angstroms view. It's always quite scenic. And that is a wrap. Thanks for tuning in wherever you did, as we are on various platforms. Please consider supporting the channel, as we have a lot of work to which to attend to, and we need to stop trading our time for money as soon as possible. Remember to stare at the sun, don't drink, and if you do, don't drive. And since it'll never be now again, may the solar wind be at your back and the atherosclerosis absent from your arteries.